Microschools SHOW, your window on the global microschools movement. Whether you're a teacher with a dream to build a school of your own, or a parent looking for a school that would suit your amazing kid, you're sure to be inspired by the creativity and innovation of our guests. I'm your host, Dr. Mara Leineberger. The Microschools Show was designed to feature guests from all over the globe who've championed personalized learning for kids by building a microschool of their own, as well as to spotlight some of the key players in the microschools movement. Today, I'm speaking with Jamie Main and Fair Jenkins of Sandalwood School on the Hawaiian island of Maui. Sandalwood is a newly opened upcountry homeschool community. This creative endeavor was recently sprouted out of a need to support kids on Maui, both socially, emotionally, and academically during these unprecedented times. Sandalwood has come together to re-envision a school year that could have been confusing and uncertain for kids into a year of wonder, discovery, and joy. Sandalwood School believes that children learn and grow best together in an environment of guided inquiry and hands-on exploration, and it believes that a child-centered curriculum rich in art, literature, cultural studies, and the sciences are vital to a child's development during these times of change. Sandalwood also believes that children can thrive in a learning community that's based on trust, cooperation, mutual respect, and a shared love of learning. As mothers, fathers, and educators, Sandalwood provides a sanctuary not only for its children, but for community members alike as they navigate the months and years ahead. Sandalwood's developmentally appropriate accredited homeschool classes currently serve children ages 8 to 10 years old. Their project-based classes take place in a variety of natural environments on the slopes of Haleakala in Maui, Hawaii. Sandalwood offers a full academic curriculum as well as a weekly specialty class in art, gardening, music, and Hawaiiana. How do I say it, ladies? You're going to have to help me pronounce it. Hawaiiana. Hawaiiana culture. Well, I'm really excited to introduce to you both Jamie and Fair. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mahalo. Thanks for having us.
I have to be honest with you. I took a couple of the Hawaiian words out, not because I was so afraid I would butcher them. So how do I say that word? Hawaiiana?
Hawaiiana.
Perfect. And you just said mahalo, which I think means...
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, good. Well, I think everybody knows aloha.
Yeah.
So, okay. So people are going to be so curious. We're talking to you. It's 3:30 in the afternoon here where I am, and it's like 9:30 where you are. Big time difference. Tell us more about you both and what got you to decide to launch Sandalwood.
Oh, well, interestingly enough, I met Jamie and just fell in love. I think she's fabulous. And we had so many similarities as far as hopes and dreams for our keiki and education. And I mean, I would say something, she said, me too. And she would say something, I'd say, me too. And it really just clicked. I'm new to Maui as of this year. I'm from the Big Island, from Hilo on the Big Island of Hawaii. And I moved right over and we became very fast friends. So this was an amazing bonding, as I had been talking about, always wanting to homeschool and have these things happening in my life. And she had said exactly the same thing. And then we fell right into this, I call it the big pause, this pandemic time, and decided to make lemonade. And it is some of the best lemonade that I ever had. And everyone's really thriving. We're really enjoying it. So,
yeah. So our boys are friends. Fair has 4 children. I have 2. And her son and my son are good friends this year when they moved to Maui. And I just think Fair and I just share a lot of the same values as mothers and past educators. And, when this whole thing hit, we initially started talking about it in spring, about just gathering up our children together. And then we all just kind of felt like shelter in place. It wasn't the time. So, but then as the school was going to open, and then it was going to open a couple days, and then it didn't open at all, we decided to continue on to do our vision of having our children sharing days. And then we decided to send out an email just of our vision to, some dear families in our social circle. And we had an open house at my house, and every one of those families that we sent out something to, they enrolled their children. So so we have 3 days a week. My background is kind of pioneering education programs in the past. I started the first preschool program at Sandalwood, Swallowtail Waldorf School in Oregon. We were in Oregon for 7 years, and then started a Waldorf early childhood program in Hood River, Oregon, for a number of years before we moved to Maui 7 years ago. And so I'm so, and I was able to do that program with my older son, and it's so nice to have this with my younger son, to be able to share our days together. And and Fair's an artist and educator herself, and so it just really happened very organically and very naturally. And
That's amazing, because I'll tell you what, so your story reminds me so much of what so many people are doing. And I love the fact that you're putting a face to this, that people who are educators have had these ideas of, like, or in your case, you've actually done it before. You've opened learning spaces, but that in this pandemic, there is this opportunity. It's not just a challenge, right? It's an opportunity in a good way to try something different. And that the two of you just thought, let's just come together and do this. You're doing it in sort of a pod safe way. And you got other people to sign on to give it a shot with you as well. A lot of people are really scared that building a micro school has to be a lot of work. And I'm sure you both do a ton of work to do the learning activities with your kids, your shared kids, and then the kids who are coming. But you can just start right away and figure it out as you go along. Can you not, ladies?
We can. I was, over the years, I've done multiple co-op schools, and having women predominantly come together, and we take turns and go from house to house. And then it never felt too much. You would host maybe twice a week, and you would go around, or when it was bigger, maybe once a week. And then you would, kind of share the entire school. It was very cooperative, and that worked really well. I loved that. I've also worked within my Kiki schools, teaching ceramics and focused on that. It's never exactly been like the goal to become a teacher, because, in the school sense, even though I've always had the idea, like, that would be fabulous. So I don't know, why I'm here today in this talk, and we talked about this together, is really to inspire other parents and just say, like, you can do this. Like, this is something that just, like, find some people who are willing to put in, the equal amount of love and work into it, and it can be created all over. So I hope it's inspiring.
Yeah, and just pulling your resources. Some moms were working full time and wondering what they're going to do, and they were spending a lot of money for childcare. One friend shared with me, and then so some moms were working full time, and then other moms have time to share, and and we were just inspired we were going to do these things with our own children. Why not welcome their best friends, so
and we're looking to bring other people in too. Like, we started off with the SUI, but the nice thing about being in an island community is Coconut Wireless. And it's like, someone hears, they're like, "Ooh, that sounds great. How can we participate?" You're like, "Ooh, good." And it trickles out that way. I like the idea of going out and trying to get new families. I mean, we'll get there, but right now it's really nice when someone's saying all the wonderful things that are happening, and then you gather interest that way. And you always feel connected, even by one. And it's like, come, you bring everybody in.
So it sounds like the Coconut Wireless is organic marketing.
Oh, yes, it is. But it's a funny way. Jamie, went to the dentist, and the dentist was like, "Oh, I heard there's a fabulous school you guys are doing." And then I was sharing a picture. We're on our walk, our daily walk. We take a walk every morning, and the Kiki love it. We love it as well. And we found a cat, a neighbor's cat, and we said, "We'll name this cat Sandalwood, and it will be our mascot." And within 15 minutes, my husband called. He was like, do we have a new cat? I was like, no, that's the school cat. But I had shared that and it went to Uncle Bill and Uncle Bill mentioned it to my husband. And that's how information on an island, it just moves. And it's like, you want to be putting like the best out there.
Okay, now just out of curiosity, is the coconut wireless really working with coconuts or is it by cell phone?
Well, the string is, it might be invisible, but it's out there and it's always working. And I mean, we are in just such a good position to be creating this. I mean, we are in nature. For an outdoor school, we are in an optimal environment. We really are.
Yeah, so you both talked about the fact that you're in a place called Haleakala. So, and I know a little bit about it, but I'm thinking that people who are going to watch this, there's going to be people watching this all around the world. What is Haleakala?
Haleakala is
the house
our
of
mountain.
the sun. It's our mauna. It's a sacred mountain on Maui. So we're right on the slopes. I'm at 2,300. So it gets nice and cool. But Maui is so small that you drive 15 minutes down the hill and you're at world-class beaches. I love being up on the mauna, surrounded by the trees and the forest and the birds. And we have these like beautiful views. And the trees have come up. And I say, don't cut the trees. I love the sound of the birds. I love feeling we're in a nest. We call our home Punana Pueo. It's owl's nest. And you feel just in that embrace of nature. So it's a special place.
Yeah, we have subtle seasons here, which I love as well. So, we have a wood burning stove, it gets chilly in the winter and yeah, it's a special place. Upcountry Maui is what they call it. Yeah.
The bread basket, you can grow anything here.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's
I loved you guys talking about the fact that, you're two moms who have the time and the desire to do something, and then you're opening it up to others. That's one of the hallmarks, I think, of microschools. And it sounds to me like you're in transition to that, or you're trying it on for size to see if it fits and if it's what your community wants. And that's a perfect way to start. So many people who are opening microschools are offering a homeschool-like experience to families that either don't want to try to do that, don't have the interest, don't feel like they would be good at it, maybe don't have the time, because we've got lots of families that have, both parents are working, or we have single parent families who want a homeschool experience for their children and can't figure out how would you juggle that? Being a single parent and homeschooling and raising your child and, feeding everybody and making a living. So the idea of opening a microschool to share your joy, share your experience, share your love with the community is an amazing opportunity.
We're grateful for it. Yeah. I mean, we are really.
Yes.
Well, so give us a sense. You said, tell us a little bit about so you've got 6 kids between you. How many of them come to your microschool or your cooperative or whatever you're calling it? It's funny, before we started, I said, it kind of makes me think hybrid. We just talked to a gal in Sauk Rapids, Minnesota, she was a homeschooling mom, and she expanded her homeschooling options to the community. And she has some kids who come full-time. She has some kids who come part-time. But everybody's welcome to come in, and everybody is actually legally signed out as a homeschooler, but they're participating in her microschool at whatever level works for them. It sounds like maybe yours is a little bit like that. Tell us about who's coming to Sandalwood and their age ranges, and just give us a sense of what the school is like.
Well, sure.
You want to go?
We're a mixed age. We consider ourselves mixed age, but most of our students are 3rd and 4th graders. Some were coming from, previously full-time homeschool. Some were public school. So different backgrounds, different ages, but most of them had a connection previously. Several of them went to preschool many years ago together. So our classes are offered 3 days a week, and we just put this out and with some flexibility. So we're offered 3 days a week, but if only 1 day a week works for a family, so we offered enrollment options of 1, 2, and 3 day a week. There is a tuition parents contribute, and that's because for supplies. We also hired one of our favorite art teachers. He teaches art and gardening. The children just love him, and he comes weekly. And then we hired a Hawaiiana teacher to teach ukulele and Hawaiiana studies. And we have an accredited curriculum. So we chose a curriculum just as a guide. So there's just enough form with lots of freedom for us as well. So yeah, do you want to add?
I mean, we really picked the best. I mean, the art teacher is fabulous. I mean, the Keiki love him. They're engaged. I love him. When he comes, it's like, I mean, our arms are open. We welcome him, and we really look forward to it. And then our Hawaiian studies teacher, she's actually, you know, our Calabash cousins. She's from the Big Island as well. And she speaks full Olelo, she is fluent in Hawaiian, which is amazing because the resurgence in the language has been so necessary after it was almost lost, you know, through history more recently. So these Keiki are so fortunate, and they know it, like they feel it, and they are absolutely engaged. And I feel it's such a treat for us.
Mm-hmm. It's really fun.
It really
and
is.
most of our classes, just, you know, Maui's been really great with the pandemic. We haven't had a huge number of cases. So, but we are outside every day. We take temperatures every morning. We wash hands throughout the day. We have covered spaces outside. So both the classes are a couple days, you know, both houses and both residency. And we're both fortunate to have natural, you know, surrounded areas that we visit and play.
It just keeps getting better and better. When we started, it's like, you know, we'll just start with this little thing, and all of a sudden I was getting inspired. We ended up with 2 beautiful outdoor covered classrooms. Mm-hmm. I mean, you just get an idea between us, and it's like, let's do it. We're yes moms. Just yes, yes, yes. And we bounce things back and forth, and it just goes. I mean, so many times I always felt that I would be supplementing whatever education my Keiki were getting. Either we go to a school that had amazing art and all these things, and then they'd come home and I'd have to make sure, you know, we're on par with the math and with reading and whatnot. Or they're very academic and they'd come home and we'd have to supplement with the art. And
Mommy?
Hi. Oh, excuse me.
Just slow the line. Keep on the wheel all the way on Auntie Jamie's house top.
Okay.
When you say no, we don't have underwear.
Can you, Auntie, can you say hello? You excuse me for interrupting. She's gonna go. Tilly's gonna go. She's gonna go back out. They work it out. I'm generally like, work it out, and they do. She just needed to tell me. And
Very cute, actually, very cute. Yeah. So, okay. So, you know, so what's a typical day look like? You know, does your day start out with like circle time, or are you traveling, or?
Okay. I will tell you because I love our day, and we use a rhythm and a flow. But again, within that, we have a lot of freedom. So we both have bells, and at both of our houses, we used to bring them back and forth, and now we each have bells. And
it's the little things.
It is the little things. No, it really is. So we start in the morning with everyone being dropped off, and we take our temperatures and wash our hands. We have a lot of hand washing happening. We come up, they pack their things away, and then they get to play. They play. I have a tennis court size hard top for bikes and running and all these things. And that's kind of how they start their day until everyone has arrived and we ring our bell. And then by the third bell, everyone just comes and circles up, and they know exactly what we're going to do. And we have our morning verse, and the breath. We usually pause and take a breath and just settle in. And after that, go for it.
We share a little bit about our day, and right now we're preparing for, you know, we're kind of bringing in those different elements of our background. So I'm bringing a little bit of the Waldorf. So we do a morning verse, and then we're preparing for our lantern walk in November. So we sing a little lantern walk song, and then we start walking through the forest.
And we have a morning walk. And they know what to expect, and that's really lovely. So we go from our verse to our walk, And it's kind of getting that morning energy out, and they're ready to come into the classroom or
Main
outside
lesson.
wherever we're working with their main lesson.
Yeah, we have our first, we just have our rhythm to the day. It's a nice form, but again,
They know when
enough
their
freedom.
snack is, they know when the recess is, they know when the lunch is. And I focus on those because they focus on those. Oh, the meals and in between, they're so engaged. And that's kind of how the day seems like it goes so quick. And I always feel like we never really have enough time because there's so many good things to do. But within the construct, we have, I speak about it very lightly, but I'm actually very serious when it comes to the educational part of this. I mean, it's all education. And the nice part about it being in the school that we're in, this is a reflection of real life. You have the moms, you have the babies coming through, you have the dogs, you have the cats, you have you get to be part of a big family. So you get that part of it. They have their structure, but then, the other day we are making these beautiful paper mache lanterns for a lantern walk, and we brought them in, and they weren't quite ready. So it's like, oh, well, we had in our minds blocked off what we're going to do. So, okay, they're not ready. I'm going to take one more day and I'll put some Mod Podge on there and whatnot. They're having recess. I go through my treasure trove of a garage and pull out a stack of puzzles, like world puzzles and, United States puzzles. And that fits right into our geography. And it was like, you just pivot. And that's been a big term they've been using in the last few months, but it's applicable for life. You just redirect. And they had it wasn't that great. Yeah. They really had a wonderful time. And that's happening quite often. It's a big part, being an artist. One of the assets I bring is just being creative and being able to just have the vision of, okay, what can we do now? And then you say yes. And then she'll have an idea and I'll be like, yes, let's do it. So
because it's really small enough,
yeah.
And the children, so we broke them up into 2 groups of 4, and they did their puzzles, but they were just so excited about,
and we pull in, and we have all the geography lesson that can, go right into that.
It's very experiential, the children are doing, we are writing. They just, one of our big projects at the beginning of the year, which was just last month, but we started, every student chose an animal. And so just learning to research. So we brought in the science, and researching that animal and what's the scientific name, but also incorporating the language art. So they're learning, so then they had to learn how to write, sentences, capital and a period, put that into a paragraph. Then that was the first draft. Then we have the final draft. They did a poster, so we incorporated the art of drawing the animal's habitat, drawing the animal, and then they presented. So we had the parents, it's kind of a showcase of all the art they've been working on.
Really
and just a couple weeks ago, we invited the parents. They all brought blankets, so they kind of spread out, all the parents, all the families, and the children got to stand up and public speak, practice their public speaking and present their animal project. So it's just kind of like having a goal and just kind of everyone's working on that. And it might take a few weeks, to
and they're
present
so
that
proud.
project.
They are so proud.
Really
And it's the little things. When we're doing our research, we're opening our books. It's not just get on the computer. We're really not focused on using the computer. I want them to be able to have the experience of finding information through books and learning all the different ways to access that. I mean, I still love the idea of the old card catalog and having to go through it. I think it's really important. It's a good way to learn how to access information and asking questions, reaching out. And sometimes, just saying like, I don't know how to do this or where to go. And that's why where we come in. And sometimes their peers are really helpful in that. And
they learn a lot.
We're really fostering a cooperative environment, instead of a competitive environment. And I think that is the key to what we are doing. And this is creating, healthy, happy people. Mm-hmm. And that is the real goal of this. They will be educated. They will read and write and learn to find out where they can get the information. What we really want is happy, healthy people, and the world just needs, more of that. Absolutely.
Awesome. I ask everybody this question, and I may be putting you on the spot. Have you seen any other small schools that you like, that you think we should talk to? you know, you mentioned the schools that you worked in Oregon. Is that some place that people should know about?
Well, the schools that, I mean, I think most of the schools we know about are larger established schools on Maui. I don't know of any other micro schools on Maui. I know they're popping up, and I know families are gathering together, but I don't know of anything established. But
No, we don't.
I know, and I don't think there's any outdoor schools on Maui, even though it's such an ideal climate to do that. But there are wonderful schools. You know, my oldest, he went to the Montessori of Maui for elementary school here, and it was a wonderful experience for him. And
Well, I'll tell you what, if the Montessori has less than 150 kids, it's technically considered a micro school.
oh, is that
I
the
didn't know
definition?
that.
I didn't know that. Yeah.
Well, then
Yeah,
we
you know-
could be in a Montessori micro school as well. I mean, those are the best schools, really.
Yeah.
You know, keep it small. And that is another beautiful part about what we're doing. We have so few students that we can really work with each of them to get to where, you know, they need to be. And maybe, you know, we have a couple that need more work, and we find out, you know, what it is and present that, or some that need more help, you know. And I try to be careful with the language we put behind it, because I really believe in like a love-based education, for the love of education, for the love of learning, instead of a fear-based education, which is not feeling up to par or standard or what other people are doing, because I don't see it that way. So that is the really nice thing about having a small school and being able to match people with exactly what they need. You know, we, like in the beginning, because we have a range, you know, we had some students and it was a little more challenging for some things, and then they didn't enjoy it as much. And enjoyment is a big part of this. It really is. So we created math boards, and then everyone's going to pick, we have options, and then they can really choose what they want to work on. And they're all learning something, and they're working together. And it makes for a really happy, healthy environment.
Fantastic. Well, ladies, it's 30 minutes has flown by, and I'm so glad that
But we
got
have more to tell you.
I'm sure you do. Well, I'm trying to keep these to 30 minutes simply because we want our listeners to be able to consume these episodes and be able to learn more. They can always reach out to you. If you want to get in touch with Jamie or Fair, you can email them at sandalwoodschoolmaui@gmail.com. I want to thank you all for listening to the show today. We've got some great micro schools lined up for the next couple shows, but I'm still looking for a few more. If you'd like to be a guest to talk about your micro school or to share your work in the micro schools movement, please reach out to me at Mara@microschoolbuilders.com to set up your interview. And until next time, be well.